Tennessee's basketball opponents announced. Caleb, what do you make of it?
Yes, the SEC released the 2024-25 men's basketball opponents yesterday on Monday, and things are a little different this year. It's still 18 conference games, but because there's 16 teams in the league now, you only play 3 teams twice, not 5. You play all 15 other teams once, and 3 of those teams you play twice. The opponents Tennessee drew twice are Kentucky, Florida, and Vanderbilt. And I think Florida was just a roll of the dice draw. Kentucky and Vanderbilt are going to play twice every year. What really stands out is that Tennessee is going to welcome Arkansas to Knoxville. So Jonas Adu is going to go back to Thompson Bowling Arena, and John Calipari will be there with leading Arkansas. I think that's probably the biggest storyline of their schedule.
No, that's a pretty darn good matchup. I like that. Calipari, what kind of success do you think he'll have at Arkansas? And I asked the same thing for Joseph Adu, who I know that we hope things work out for him, but we've got questions about his toughness for sure.
You mean Jonas Adu, not Joseph?
Jonas Adu.
I mean, I think Calipari will still have success. He's already been striking it on the recruiting trail. You know, he got Billy Richmond to commit, Jay Boogie Flynn to commit, and Carter Knox, 2 4-stars and a 5-star. So he's already rolling, getting in talent, plus Jonas Adu. So I think Arkansas will be good. I don't think they will be Kentucky level great like they were with those recruits back in the day, but I still think they'll be good. I think the real story is Tennessee actually gets a pretty good draw at least next year, in the sense that, I mean, Vanderbilt is undergoing a transition, obviously, with their new head coach. Kentucky's undergoing a transition with their new head coach. So you have 2 new head coaches at Vanderbilt, Kentucky, and Florida. They had a bit of a moment towards the end, but they're not that great of a program. I don't think anybody really sees them doing anything special this upcoming year. So getting those 3 teams to play twice, if you're Tennessee, you should be very happy about that. And now what stands out is some other tough teams.
That's just a now thing. Are these permanent opponents? I mean,
this is just next year. This is just next year.
Okay, well, how's this going to work out long term? Because yes, it looks like a good draw for Tennessee now, but there would have been times when Billy Donovan was at Florida or Vanderbilt was better or Kentucky's Kentucky, that this would have been a very tough draw.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that could have been brutal. No, I totally agree, but that's not, the draw for that is fine this year. The problem becomes their home versus road schedule, and a lot of the better teams in the league now, they're going to be playing on the road. They get a rematch with Texas. They have to play them on the road. This next year, they have to play Oklahoma on the road. They have to visit Auburn. So Auburn, I think, is going to be the biggest competition for Tennessee to try to win the SEC. And they got to visit Auburn. That's going to be brutal. It's going to be brutal to visit Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a very good program now. Really, the biggest standout home game they have probably is Alabama, with Nate Oates coming. And, given how Tennessee fans, I think Nate Oates is very quickly becoming the most hated coach in the SEC now that Will Wade has retired, or Will Wade has gotten fired. So we're going to have to see how that plays out. But I think that Tennessee, in many ways, you may see a more down SEC than usual next year. But at the same time, you do have some programs on the rise. Mississippi State and Ole Miss are both programs on the rise. So it's hard to, Dave, this time of year is really, really, really hard to project how good basketball teams are going to be. It's not like football. Basketball teams can change their personnel overnight just like that. So I just think that, but I think as programs believing in the coaches and looking who the coaches are, I think drawing Kentucky and Vanderbilt and Florida for your 3 teams that you play twice is a pretty good draw. I think getting Alabama at home, they should be happy about. I think Auburn on the road is their most circled game. If I had to pick, if you told me they were going to go 17-1 next year, then their one loss would be Auburn. That's going to be the toughest game for them next year at Auburn.
I want to ask you another top of your head question. Who is the most disliked coach among, let's call it the top 4, even though baseball is arguable in its exposure? But who's the most disliked coach in the top 4? Women's and men's basketball, football, and SEC women's basketball.
In the entire SEC or from Tennessee?
No, in the entire in the entire SEC. So football, both basketballs, baseball. I think Josh Heupel would make some list because of allegedly running up scores. But I do think Oates and the way he handled the whole gun situation 2 seasons ago, right? I think that definitely hurt him. And I think the fact that he's successful probably makes other coaches a little bit wary of him as well.
I think Nate Oates is obviously on that list. Sorry, Tennessee fans, but Tony Vitello is on that list. Like, just so clearly on that list.
No doubt.
I think in football, I think I got a couple of names. Like, there are some there's coaches that me and you make fun of Dave all the time, but like, I kind of feel bad for Billy Napier more than I make fun of him. I just feel like there's a lot of things going on down there, but I don't think he's a bad guy. I think I think the two most hated coaches in the SEC for football are Lane Kiffin and Hugh Freeze. Lane Kiffin because he just trolls you, and I kind of find it funny, but Hugh Freeze because I think everybody in the world knows Hugh Freeze is one of the biggest frauds and phonies and snakes in college football.
I don't think people hate Hugh. Well, I take that back. I don't think this round of coaches know enough to hate Hugh Freeze. Like a lot of the guys that were around when Hugh Freeze was making an impact, Fulmer, Saban, they knew what he was doing. I don't think this new round, and NIL is not going to come up and bite him because you can do that now. You can pay players, so that's not going to bite him. I don't know that he's as hated as maybe you imply at times. Now, the old school coaches, Saban, Fulmer, all those guys, he was hated because they knew he was cheating. I don't know that he's as hated now.
It wasn't just the cheating, though. It was not, that alone they could have gotten past.
I agree. It was the gross stuff with underage kids, and there are a lot of weird things. I just think that it's clearly Lane.
I think Lane is
football, I think it's clearly Lane. Women's basketball, I think it's clearly Kim Mulkey. Men's basketball.
Oh, yeah, Kim Mulkey is definitely it.
Men's basketball, I think it's clearly John Calipari. Football.
You said Lane football, but baseball, Tony Vitello. So that's the Mount Rushmore. Tony Vitello, Kim Mulkey, John Calipari, and Lane Kiffin.
I like it.
I mean, yeah, that's a fair one. So I think with Nate Oates, you're right. Getting to basketball with that, I think Nate Oates more splits people along the lines. His decision, I can't say was the most obvious decision to say, oh, he should have set Brandon Miller for the year. What do you do with the guy who, like, you know, you can't really prove he did anything that he shouldn't have done. And so I think that's easy for Tennessee fans. I'm the one who sits up there and says, I mean, should Josh Heupel have suspended Jalen McCullough because he was indicted for something he never should have been indicted for? I think everybody loves the thing about sports, and this is what's so funny to me, Dave. Everybody loves hardcore discipline for the other team's opponents, for the opponent's players. But then when it's their own players, it's like, well, it's not so black and white. I mean, that's just how sports goes.
Let's get to Four Downs, brought to you by Dynasty Pools and Spas to take a closer look at this schedule. Here we go. Boom.
Four Downs brought to you by Dynasty Spas, the most comfortable spas made in the United States of America, right here in East Tennessee. Drop in for the all-new showroom in Athens. Dynasty Spas, perfect for all 4 seasons. Four Downs, presented by Off the Hook Sports.
Thank you. And Coop, what should people do to take advantage of all the offerings on Off the Hook Sports?
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
Thank you.
Coop here. First down.
Caleb, Tennessee fans should be afraid or excited about the new SEC with John Calipari moving over?
They should be excited, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too. I think not having him at Kentucky with unlimited funds, I thought would be scary in the NIL. I don't think he ever managed.
No, I actually go a little. It's another step. It's that Eric Musselman not being at Arkansas. I think that removes Arkansas as much of a threat.
There you go, sir.
Cooper Mays here. Second down.
Second down. The most exciting game on Tennessee's schedule is blank.
The most exciting game on Tennessee's schedule is that trip to Auburn.
Okay, they're done.
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down.
Most exciting home game is?
Most exciting home game is Alabama. More than
I would
Arkansas
agree
even.
with that. And lastly,
All SEC center Cooper Mays here. 4th down.
thank you, Cooper. Even though we're talking basketball, this Tennessee basketball team's recruiting is in good shape, great shape. Depends on Chaz Lanier.
Great shape. Great shape no matter what. It could be an extremely great shape if they land Chaz Lanier.
I'm going to say depends on Chaz Lanier.